The sky was clear, the air calm, but in just a few moments, everything shattered. A quiet flight meant to bring peace turns into a nightmare that will leave Amy and everyone at Heartland changed forever. This isn't just another accident. It's the moment that tests Amy's strength, her courage, and her heart. It all begins quietly, with the golden Alberta sun spilling across the Heartland ranch. The horses graze peacefully, their tails flicking in the breeze. Amy stands by Spartan's side, her hand gently brushing his mane, her eyes distant as if she senses something coming. She's been trying to move on, trying to find balance after the emotional storms of the past few weeks. But life in Heartland never stays calm for long. In this episode, everything seems normal at first. Jack is fixing the fence near the barn, humming softly to himself. Tim is in one of his usual moods, worried about everything and pretending he's not. Lindy is chasing the chickens, laughing, while Lou calls out from the porch about dinner. It's a picture of peace, of routine, of family, something that always feels safe. But that safety is about to be ripped apart. Amy has been struggling with a new client, a frightened horse named Whisper. The animal refuses to trust anyone, flinching even at the sound of footsteps. Amy feels a strange connection to her, almost like she's looking into a mirror. Whisper's fear reflects her own fear of change, of loss, of letting go. It's subtle, but we can feel it building, the unspoken tension that Heartland does so well. Later that afternoon, Amy gets a call from a friend, an old ranch hand from a nearby property. He's been working on a small rescue mission for wild horses stranded after a storm, and he needs help transporting one of them back safely. Without thinking twice, Amy agrees. She's always been the first to help, the one who can't ignore an animal in need. But this time, it's a choice that changes everything. We cut to the small airstrip outside Hudson. The sound of the engine fills the air as the plane waits on the runway, small, light, and a little too old. The pilot, a kind man named Carl, greets Amy with a reassuring smile. "It'll be a quick trip," he says. "In and out before sunset." Amy nods, her nervousness barely showing. She's flown before, but something about today feels different. As they take off, the world below turns into a patchwork of golden fields and winding rivers. The sky is endless. Amy watches out the window, thinking of home, of Lindy's laughter, of Spartan waiting in the pasture. It's one of those moments that feels peaceful, almost too peaceful. The kind that Heartland fans know can't last forever. Back at the ranch, Jack looks up from his work. The wind has shifted, colder now, carrying the scent of rain, though the clouds are still far away. He frowns, the kind of look that says his gut is telling him something's wrong. Jack has always had that quiet instinct, that sense when something's about to happen. Meanwhile, Tim is on the phone, arguing as usual, not realizing how quickly the world around him is about to change. Lou is setting the table, telling Lindy to wash up. It's a normal evening until a sudden static noise cuts through the radio sitting on the porch. A pilot's voice, faint and trembling, breaks through the crackle of sound. "Mayday! Mayday!" It's barely audible, but it's enough to send chills down your spine. And just like that, the peace that Heartland is known for, the warmth, the laughter, the safety, vanishes in a heartbeat. The screen fades to black. The music drops to a low, haunting tone, and all we see are the words. The moment it happens, the world feels like it stops. The plane cuts through the open blue sky, the sun dipping low behind the clouds. Amy glances out the window, a soft smile touching her face as she watches the distant mountains. She doesn't know it yet, but this will be the last time she sees Heartland from above in peace. The radio crackles. The engine hum falters just for a second, but it's enough to change everything. Carl's calm tone turns sharp. "That's strange," he mutters, flicking switches on the dashboard. Amy feels the plane shudder beneath her. Her fingers grip the armrest, knuckles white. A sound like metal grinding against metal fills the cabin. "What's happening?" she asks, her voice trembling. "Stay calm, Amy. It's just a minor issue," Carl replies, but even he doesn't believe his words. The plane jolts again, violently this time. The camera shakes. The world outside spins in flashes of gold and blue. Papers fly. The horse crate in the back shifts, the frightened animal thrashing. Amy's heart races. Every sound feels louder, the wind roaring, the beeping of alarms, the desperate voice of the pilot trying to regain control, then silence. A heavy, terrifying silence before the storm hits. Carl's voice breaks through it, raw and panicked now. "We're losing altitude." Amy clutches the seat, her breath shallow. The camera focuses on her eyes wide, wet with fear as the plane tilts. Outside the window, the earth rises fast to fast. The frame blurs into chaos, spinning clouds, screeching metal, the horse screaming. The plane crashes through the tree line with a thunderous roar. The screen cuts to black. For a few seconds, there's nothing but the sound of wind and the faint crackle of fire. When the scene fades in again, we see fragments of the wreckage scattered across a quiet clearing. Smoke drifts into the fading light. The sound design is haunting. Distant thunder, snapping wood, a soft groan that tells us Amy's still alive. She opens her eyes slowly, dust and blood streaking her face. Everything hurts. The camera stays close to her expression: confusion, disbelief, pain. She turns her head and sees the pilot slumped over, unresponsive. The realization hits her like another crash. She struggles to unbuckle her seatbelt. Her fingers tremble. The smoke thickens, and the horse cries out again from the wreckage. Even in this moment, Amy's instincts kick in. She forgets her pain and crawls toward the sound. It's messy, desperate, and human. She cuts through twisted metal and debris until she reaches Whisper's crate. The animal's eyes are wild with fear, just like Amy's. For a heartbeat, they lock eyes to souls trapped between survival and surrender. Amy whispers softly, voice broken but determined, "You're okay. You're okay. I've got you." The music swells, slow and tragic. It's not just about the crash, it's about her strength, her will to keep going. She pulls at the broken latch, freeing the horse, who stumbles out into the clearing. Then, exhaustion takes over. Amy collapses beside her, eyes fading to black as the camera pans upward, showing smoke curling into the darkening sky. Cut to the ranch. Jack drops a tool from his hand, staring into the distance as if he feels it in his bones. A crow calls in the silence. Lou's phone rings, her face going pale as she listens. Tim freezes mid-sentence, his voice fading. The whole Heartland family knows something terrible has happened. The screen fades again to darkness with just 4 words echoing softly. Amy Fleming is missing. The world wakes up different the next morning. The light over Heartland feels colder, thinner, as if the sun itself is holding its breath. The crash has left its mark not only on the ground miles away, but deep in the hearts of everyone who loves Amy Fleming. At the ranch, Jack sits at the kitchen table, hat in hand, eyes fixed on nothing. He's been up all night, listening to the police scanner, waiting for news that never came. Lou stands by the window, phone in her hand, whispering into it, her voice shaking as she speaks to search and rescue teams. Tim paces back and forth outside the barn, unable to stay still. He keeps saying she's fine, that Amy's too strong to be gone, but his words are breaking apart with every breath. The silence of the ranch is unbearable. Even the horses seem restless, sensing that something isn't right. Spartan stands by the fence, head low, eyes searching the horizon. It's as if he knows Amy's in trouble, waiting for her scent, her voice, her touch. That silent bond between them becomes a quiet symbol of hope, fragile but alive. Hours turn into a full day, and still no word. The camera lingers on the clock ticking in the kitchen, each second louder than the last. Jack finally breaks the silence. "I'm going out there," he says, his voice low but firm. Lou tries to stop him, reminding him the police are already searching, but Jack's mind is made up. He's not just her grandfather, he's her anchor, and he can't sit still while she's lost somewhere out there. Cut to the forest. The search party moves through the wreckage site, smoke still rising, twisted metal glinting in the daylight. The scene is quiet, the kind of silence that screams louder than any sound. Jack steps through the debris, his boots crunching on broken glass. A small piece of Amy's scarf lies caught on a branch. He picks it up slowly, staring at it like it's the most important thing in the world. Back at Heartland, Lou sits with Lindy, trying to explain something no mother should ever have to explain. "Mommy's just away for a little while," she whispers, her voice cracking as she forces a smile. Lindy looks up, her small hand gripping Lou's tightly. She's coming back, the girl says with a certainty only a child could have. Lou nods because she wants to believe it too. As night falls again, the ranch is bathed in the pale glow of the moon. Tim returns, empty-handed, his shoulders heavy. He leans against the barn, whispering to himself, "You've survived worse, Amy. You've always come back." The camera pans up to the night sky, endless, cold, and quiet, and for a moment, it feels like the stars themselves are watching, waiting. Then, a faint sound cuts through the darkness, a distant neigh. The camera zooms in on Spartan, ears pricked. Amy's eyes open to a blur of light and shadow. The air is thick with smoke and the scent of burning pine. For a moment, she can't tell where she is or even who she is. All she feels is pain. Her head throbs, her ribs ache, and her left leg feels heavy, pinned under twisted metal. The world tilts around her, echoing with the ghostly memory of the crash. She tries to move, but the pain snaps through her body like lightning. She gasps, the sound catching in her throat. The forest around her is eerily quiet, no voices, no rescue teams, just a distant crackle of fire and the rustle of wind through broken trees. Time feels unreal here. It could be minutes or hours since the crash. Then, a sound soft and desperate. A whimper. Amy's head turns toward it. Through the smoke, she spots Whisper, the rescued horse, tangled in brush but alive. Relief floods her eyes. She drags herself closer, inch by inch, biting back tears as branches tear at her arms. When she reaches Whisper, she places a trembling hand on the horse's neck. "It's okay," she whispers, voice hoarse. "I'm here." In that moment, something shifts. The fear in her eyes begins to fade, replaced by the same quiet determination that has always defined her. She's hurt, lost, and alone, but she's Amy Fleming. She's not giving up. She frees Whisper carefully, cutting through the ropes with a shard of metal from the wreckage. Every move costs her strength. Her hands shake. Her breathing grows shallow, but she doesn't stop. Once the horse is free, Whisper nudges her gently, almost as if urging her to stand. It's a small spark of connection, a reminder that even in disaster, life still listens. The sun begins to fade, painting the forest in deep orange and ash gray. Amy knows she needs shelter before night falls. She gathers what she can from the wreckage: a blanket, a piece of tarp, a small flashlight that barely works. She limps toward a cluster of rocks and fallen trees, creating a makeshift shelter for herself and Whisper. As darkness covers the forest, the cold sets in. Amy shivers, her breath fogging in the air. She wraps herself in the blanket and leans against Whisper for warmth. Her eyes glisten in the flickering light of a small fire she managed to spark from the plane's wreckage. "We're gonna make it," she murmurs. "We have to." In flashes, memories return: Jack's voice, Lou's laugh, Lindy's hug. She sees Spartan galloping across the ranch, the sound of his hooves echoing in her mind like a heartbeat. That's when she knows she has to get home. Not just for herself, but for them. The night is long. Every crack in the woods makes her flinch. Every howl in the distance reminds her how far she is from safety. But then, she looks at Whisper, calm now, resting beside her, and it steadies her heart. For the first time since the crash, Amy lets herself breathe. The camera pans out slowly, the wreckage glowing faintly in the moonlight, the forest stretching endlessly around her. Above the smoke, the stars burn bright and cold. One star seems to shine brighter than the rest, almost like it's watching her, guiding her. Amy closes her eyes and whispers softly, almost to herself, "Tomorrow, I'll find a way home." The screen fades to black, and the sound of a heartbeat grows louder, steady, strong, unbroken. The forest is quiet again, but it's not the same silence as before. This one feels heavy, filled with meaning, the kind that only comes after something breaks and begins to heal. Amy sits by the dying fire, her thoughts echoing louder than the wind. Every flicker of flame, every rustle of leaves, seems to whisper something to her, something deeper than the crash itself. The plane crash wasn't just an accident. It was a mirror, a reflection of everything Amy has been carrying inside her heart. For seasons now, she's been trying to hold her world together, being strong for Lindy, keeping Heartland running, pretending she's fine when she's not. The sky falling around her wasn't just a tragedy. It was fate forcing her to stop, to feel, to face everything she's been avoiding. As she stares into the firelight, images from her past flicker in her mind like pieces of the wreckage. Her mother's voice, Ty's smile, the heartbreak she never fully let go of. Every loss, every scar, every memory she's buried rises to the surface. The crash stripped her of everything familiar, but maybe that's exactly what she needed. Whisper nudges her shoulder gently, pulling her back to the present. Amy looks into the horse's eyes and realizes something powerful. This animal isn't just a rescue mission. Whisper is her reflection. Wild, scared, but fighting to trust again. The crash brought them together for a reason. Two souls broken by fear, finding strength in each other. The forest itself becomes a metaphor. The trees, tall but scarred from fire, stand as symbols of resilience, the same resilience that defines Heartland and everyone who calls it home. The cold night, the distance, the pain, all of it is part of Amy's rebirth. It's as if the universe stripped away everything so she could rediscover who she truly is beneath the noise and expectations. There's a beautiful irony in it too. Amy has spent her life healing others' horses, people, families, but now, for the first time, she has to heal herself, alone. The crash didn't destroy her. It revealed her. It peeled back the layers of strength and showed the quiet, trembling heart beneath a heart that still believes in love, in hope, in coming home. Back at Heartland, Jack feels it. He sits by the fire that night, staring into the same orange glow Amy does miles away. The connection between them is silent but real, the unspoken bond of family that stretches across distance and fear. Lou, clutching Lindy close, whispers a prayer. Even Tim, restless and angry at himself, steps outside to look up at the same stars Amy is watching. None of them know it, but they're all sharing the same hope, the same heartbeat. And maybe that's what the crash truly means. Not just destruction, but rebirth. Not an ending, but the painful beginning of something new. As the fire burns low, Amy closes her eyes and whispers softly, "I get it now. You were never trying to break me. You were trying to wake me." The camera pans upward through the trees, past the smoke, into the night sky where the stars shimmer like scattered memories. One by one, they seem to form the faint outline of a horse galloping across the heavens. The music swells, not sad, but full of hope. Amy's journey isn't over. It's only just beginning. The first light of dawn creeps through the trees, thin and silver, touching the smoke-stained branches like a promise. The fire has gone out, but Amy's still there, bruised, exhausted, yet alive. Her eyes open slowly, and for the first time since the crash, she feels something she hasn't felt in days: direction. The forest that once looked endless now feels like a path waiting to be walked. She pushes herself up, wincing in pain, but there's a spark in her eyes again, that quiet, determined flame that defines her. Whisper stands nearby, waiting. It's almost as if the horse understands they've both survived the impossible, and now it's time to find their way back. Amy places a hand on Whisper's mane, using the strength of another living soul to keep going. Together, they start walking through the ash and mist. As they move deeper into the woods, echoes of her life flow through her mind: Jack teaching her how to ride, Ty's laughter, the soft sound of Lindy calling her name. Each memory fuels her steps. Every ache in her body becomes proof that she's still alive. The camera follows her through the forest, weaving between shadows and sunlight, until she stumbles upon something, a broken piece of the plane's wing, and beside it, the pilot's cap. She pauses, closes her eyes, and whispers a quiet goodbye. Then faint in the distance a sound. Not wind, not whispers, something real. A voice: "Amy, Amy, can you hear us?" Her heart stops for a second. It's Jack's voice. She turns toward the sound, her breath quickening. She tries to shout back, but her throat is too dry. She waves her arm instead, forcing her legs to move faster. The camera cuts between Amy's desperate movements and the search team breaking through the trees. The music rises soft at first, then powerful, filled with hope and tension. Finally, Jack appears through the fog. For a split second, neither of them moves. It's as if the entire world pauses to breathe. Then, Amy stumbles forward, and Jack runs to her, wrapping her in his arms. The relief in his face says everything. Lou appears next, tears streaming down her cheeks as she holds her sister tight. Tim stands a few steps back, overwhelmed, whispering, "I knew she'd make it." The moment feels endless, raw, real, and full of gratitude. The music fades into a soft guitar theme as the camera slowly pans out, showing the family surrounded by the quiet beauty of the forest. Later, back at Heartland, the golden sunset bathes the ranch in warmth. Amy sits on the porch, wrapped in a blanket, watching Whisper graze in the field. Spartan stands nearby, ears perked, his gaze fixed on her as if he never stopped waiting. Jack brings her a cup of coffee, and for a while, they don't say anything. They just sit there, watching the light fade. Finally, Amy speaks. "I thought I lost everything out there," she says softly, "but maybe I found myself instead." Jack smiles, the kind of smile that carries years of love and pain. "You always come back stronger, Amy. You always have." The music swells one last time as the camera pans over the ranch, the fences, the barn, the wide open fields glowing under the setting sun. Life at Heartland goes on, changed but whole again. Then, as the screen begins to fade, a single sentence appears, "But some scars never fade." And some storms aren't over. The wind picks up, a horse neighs in the distance.